Hey guys, so we are back once again. This is my third video for the day. If you missed the first one, it came out around 7 a.m. 7 p.m. It was a stocks by request session featuring the requests from people from our Patreon community where we talked about AP, AEV, nickel, and I think Meralco. Then 8 p.m. we had Lexter Azurin, who's a fundamental analyst in my main channel, talk about is it okay to buy stocks that are in a bargain right now? Are there any cheap stocks? How do you identify and know if those stocks are actually cheap? So that's what we talked about in my main channel, and this is our third video. And the context of all of this is, remember what I said for those following and watching this channel, that if there's a significant or at least a notable move in the index, in the PSEi, we're gonna make a video on top of it. So this is it right now. I'm gonna show you what changed and shifted. I don't know if it will lead into something else. I don't know if it's something that will cause the markets to move in a different direction. But what I do know is this is where the chart is as of this point in time. And by the way, if you're new to this, my name is Marvin Germo. I'm a stock market trader and investor, and I've been in the market for over a decade now, and I've created 5 books. I'm an international speaker also talking about stuff like this. And if you want to know more about all of this, I have 2 channels. Thinking about making a third one na nandun yung mga US stocks, kasi na-realize ko sa channel na to, ayaw nyo manood ng US stocks. So, and I'm so interested kasi of US stocks. So, maybe I might open one, but I'm not sure yet. But, yun, if you want to know more about all of this stuff, ano yung trading, ano yung investing, ano yung stock market, and technical analysis, subscribe to both of the channels and smash the bell so you get updated every time I come up with new content about investing. So before I show you also the PSE, by the way, this is how it looks like right now. Before I give you context and I show you how it is, how it's moving, what the progression is, I just want to tell you, while all of this is happening, we have a negative GDP for the first quarter. We also have a negative GDP for the second quarter, which was around 16.5 negative growth for our country, which is not something that's optimistic. It's our worst contraction in a very, very long time. I don't think we did not hit that type of contraction in the 1990s. We did not also hit that type of contraction when we were under martial law. There was an EDSA revolution. There were a lot of coup d'etats. We did not contract that way. And as of this point in time, also, unemployment is at 10%, which is high, which is before the pandemic. I was gonna say coronavirus, but nasabi ko pandemic. Anyways, before the pandemic happened, or before the coronavirus happened, before the lockdown happened, our unemployment was around 5%. Our unemployment now is at 10%, which is massively high, but it's not the highest. Prior to that, we had around 17+% unemployment. And that's something worth looking at, because please remember, we are, all intents and purposes, a consumption-driven economy. Meaning, kung walang sweldo yung tao, wala siyang panggastos. And as what I've always said in the previous talks, or for those who read my books or then the seminars, the economy is just made up of transactions that one man's spending is another man's earning. So if one man is spending here, wala siyang trabaho, guess what? They won't possibly spend there anymore. If they're not spending there anymore, whether that be Max, Shakey's, 7-Eleven, in a Merrimart supermarket, or in an SM mall, or in a Robinson's retail chain, then they won't earn. Then that possible sale that would have been there becomes zero or becomes lesser. So what we would want is if unemployment sana would get lower, so that more we see businesses start to reopen. And please remember, the height of the unemployment was mainly because the economy was closed. So there's an expectation also that, hey, negative GDP first quarter and second quarter, but in spite of it being negative, there's an expectation that it might, the third quarter, although it's not super good, it's not super optimistic, it might be better off already than where we were on the first 2 quarters. So that's how I would look at it. Now, what else is so interesting? For those who watch the interview that I had with Dr. Alvin Ang, it's in the first channel, I highlighted that at this point in time, our gold reserves, our dollar reserves are very, very high. And I would highlight that in a way because it allows us to have an import cover. However, though that looks so interesting, we have not seen that high of a dollar reserve in our entire history, in our existence as a country. We have not seen something like that. So why am I saying this? One of the reasons why it's high is because there's not a lot of economic activity and there's not a lot of imports also, meaning wala masyado nagpapapalit ng dollar kasi meron silang kailangan i-import na kailangan bayaran. And that gives us a shroud now, okay, we have larger reserves, we have the capability to cover the things that we need to import, but it's also a sign that economic activity is not yet back to where it is. And while I'm saying this also, POGOs are leaving, affecting our rentals for business, for at least office spaces. Then, since POGOs are leaving, also, it's also affecting rental units, kung saan hina-house yung mga uh, POGOs na yun or yung mga employees nila. And while that's happening also, some companies are figuring out, teka, work from home? It somehow works eh. Meaning, instead of just renting 5 floors, 7 floors, I could rent maybe 3 floors or 4 floors, then yung dating binabayad ko sa rent, kasi kailangan ko rin talaga magtipid, I get to use for other things or I get to keep as cash. And then I'll just let a portion of my employees start working from home. So I think that will be a prevailing theme, uh, not just because people don't, hindi gusto ng tao mahawa, because tama naman, the lesser exposure you have to your office mates or to people around you, the get more you get protected from the virus. But if there's one thing that this pandemic has taught us, that it works eh. People have more time, they can be more productive, they can work harder, and then they're not so tired from traffic, and then they get to spend more time with their families. However, ganun din. Hopefully, kung mag-asawa kayo, hindi kayo nag-aaway. Ako, hindi kami yung alam ko lang na panlaban ko sa wedding is, or at least sa marriage, is happy wife, happy life. Kailangan masaya lagi asawa ko. So yun lang yung technique ko. So we've been together since the lockdown, since March, and we barely go out. Pero masaya naman yung pagmamahala namin. But where am I now? What was I saying? So yun. I think no, Pogo's leaving and then more companies electing to work from home may dampen whatever growth that we are seeing sa property space. And it's already evident din naman sa mga property companies, because a lot of them, yung growth plans nila dapat for 2020 and growth plans nila the year after, I think they tapered it down, meaning, which is also a wise move. You don't want to have a lot of construction. You don't want to have a lot of buildings and then bakante din naman sila. So at least that protects the prices na hindi siya babagsak kasi sobrang daming vacancies. But what I've seen also right now is from a property standpoint, ano siya there are people who were aggressive in buying condos, buying houses, bumili ng 2 condo, bumili 3 condo, thinking that everything would be good. And some of those things are leveraged, meaning either utang or kahit hindi utang, may hinuhulugan pa sila down payment. Pero since natamaan yung negosyo nila, they may not be able to pay for everything. And that's why you're seeing some people also, they are forced to sell it at a lower price, and we're seeing that more and more. I don't know how long this will be. I don't know the prevailing theme for this, but what I do know is there will be an impact while all of this is also happening. So yun. And one more thing is yung interest rates. The BSP, as you all know, more than a year ago, interest rates were relatively higher. Since interest rates were relatively higher, one of the mechanisms for BSP to somehow stimulate the economy was bring it down. So from four around, I think if I remember properly, it was 4.5, 4.75 more than a year ago. It's 2.25 today. They did not raise rates. They kept all of the rates intact. They just they just left everything to where it was, meaning, in my opinion, since they're leaving it, they're seeing that there's lesser downside risk already to the economy, or at least they don't need to change interest rates or lower it down to somehow stimulate the economy. I think that's one of the inherent things that's so logical about it. And I guess uh, one thing that I'd like to share also is this. I think people are adapting. When I say people are adapting, we're seeing people go out, go to work, but they're living and willing to tolerate the virus. Pero mas maingat, may mask, may face shield, they only go out for the basic necessities. Uh, and should that be a prevailing theme? Kasi totoo we cannot, and this was also said by Jonathan Reveles, and I said, and I agree with him totally. We cannot just wait for the virus or virus vaccine to come, because hindi natin alam when the vaccine will be there, and we don't know gaano kadami mapupunta kagad sa Pilipinas. So that's still a variable that we don't have. But what we can control is pag lumabas ka, mas maingat ka, and kung mas maingat ka, and this is my appeal to those watching this and then tingin nyo hindi naman affected yung income nyo, gumastos kayo. And it's counterintuitive, since this is a personal finance investing slash stock market channel where we teach people to make their money grow, we teach your money to invest. Pero kung hindi ka naman lubog sa utang, tapos okay naman yung savings mo, okay naman yung pera mo, if you want to help stimulate the economy, spend. So there. Anyways, volume today, by the way, was around 5 billion, which has been better. No, I'm not saying it's super high, because I've seen times before na yung volume ng PSE nag 7 billion, 8 billion, 9 billion, 10 billion. Now, 5 billion is because foreigners have still been selling. Please remember, foreigners have been selling massively over the past months. And that's why, and I'll talk more about that in the next video. So if you're seeing this at 9, expect another video at 10, where we're going to talk about Dito, etc., and the other stocks that have moved. But yun at 5 billion, 1.1 billion of that is now telecom, 20% of that. And there's not much volume and liquidity as compared to where it was before. And if ever there is, it's downward pressure of foreigners selling funds down. So please remember this. If you want a signal to see how the markets could possibly move up and reverse, of course, you can see it from the charts, but it will be interesting to see when foreigners start to come back again. Because when they start to come back again, then hey, it now becomes an indicator in a way that they see something in our markets again. And please remember, right now, all eyes are still in the US, regardless of what your theory or view behind it is. Is it the election? Is it the stimulus? Is it also the vaccine? Regardless of what your take on it is, all eyes are there, and they've really been performing naman talaga. That's why money is also moving there. So anyways, this is the PSEi, and what I wanted to note is, if you'll allow me to zoom in here, I stress this trend line. Over the past few weeks, we've been talking about this is the line that has been blocking the PSEi over the past weeks. And the reason why I say that today is, I don't know if you see it very, very well here, but today the PSEi moved up about 1+%, but it closed around 5944. That becomes so interesting because, as you can see here, babarahin ko muna to so you see it better. It somehow moved above, or at least broke above, this particular trend line. So it becomes so interesting also because it also coincides at the same time that large green candle break out from the 20-day moving average, then it's trying to break out from this. So I don't know if this is it already. This could be a sign for it to push up. But what I do know is there's a resistance also here around the 6,000 level. So it could go here, and then pag natamaan niya to, baka mag-retrace back again, we don't know. And then we might see it start to continue another sideways trend. Or this could be something that's fake, and then it just goes back down again. So it's still too early to tell, but watch out for this. It would be interesting to see if it stays above this in the next few days, but above and beyond staying above that in the next few days, it breaks out from this, the 6,036 level, then it breaks out from this, then it breaks out from this. So these are basically the levels that you need to remember if you want to trade this particular market: 6,036, 6,180, and 6,396. Those are your resistance levels right now. So please write it down. So just to give you context again and give you flavor on what's going on in the PSE. Number one, we have, and then para di naman yung mukha ko lagi. Number one, large green candle, as compared to the previous days that there wasn't a lot of volatility in the market, and volumes are dapat based on today's 5 billion move, it's not higher still than the average, but oops, what's going on? If you try to zoom out further, malayo pa tayo eh. It's not where it was as compared to where we were in the past few months in terms of spikes up, in terms of volume. It's not even close to the move that we had last June. So, anyways, back to this. So, this is its current progression. So, this is its current level. And again, please write this down. The current move of the PSEi is brought about by a large green candle, a breakout from the 20-day moving average, and uh, it trying to escape this downward trend that I just plotted. So things to watch out for, please write this down, because again, these are not stock picks, but this is me educating you, because education is power. That if you know how to trade properly, you get to be able to do it the right way as well, and you get to be able to trade it with confidence. So back to what I'm saying is, you have this. Uh, it If you want to see it push up and move higher, it must break past the 6036 level. That's one. It must stay above this downward trend. That's two. Number three, break out from this, will break it out from the 6-1 level. Break out from this, will break it out from the 6396 level. And the breakout from the 6396 level will bring it and allow it to attack this higher level, which we have not gone above, from the 6576 level, which in this entire portion, at least for this sideways market that I'm trying to plot, we have not gone up from the 6576 level. So the current stronger support that we've seen also since April is 5457, and the resistance is at 65. So for those who are able to trade this range, now this is a decent 21% range still. So that being said, should there be good news in the next few days, corporate earnings, GDP, etc., or at least ano, it could go and attack the resistance. But that being said, the downward move is still here. So again, just to end this, bantayan nyo to, how legit and significant it is, because the name of the game here is really not to play a perfect game. The name of the game here is, if the signals come out that you need to also sell, you need to get out, either cut loss, then you follow what your trading plan is telling you. So there, I hope you guys got a lot from this, and I hope that this is something that gave you immense value. So an hour after this, or an hour 30 minutes after this, most likely I'll see. Normally apat lang yung linalagay ko eh. Most likely we're gonna talk about dito, because it had the move, larger volatility today. Then we're gonna talk about also now telecom, and most likely Chelsea and CHP. So, but interesting din, madaming interesting also today. So, kung kaya, I'll make two. Kung hindi kaya, I'll just make one. I'll just try to segment it from there. So, I guess that's it. I hope you guys got a lot from this, and I hope that this is something that added tremendous value to all of you. This is Marvin Germo, and I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon, guys, and God bless you all. And don't forget to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. And if you're new, like, share, and subscribe. So, see you all in a few hours. God bless you.